Hello everyone and welcome to another How Do You Seize It review. Tonight I am reviewing Hellapagos, a cooperative game until the food is gone. This is a game for 3 to 12 players, ages 10 and up, designed by Lawrence and Philippe Gamelin. This is produced by I believe, French company, Gigamike, and this is a fantastic party game. So let's go ahead and show you what the components look like, talk about that, and then get into the gameplay. So the box here is a good sized box. Everything fits in the box well, but it's not oversized. And so very nice quality box. They went the extra mile on the inside of the box here for that thematic element. Looks like this washed up on the shore box. It's all broken and everything. Very, very cool. The little tuck boxes for the little decks of cards, also printed to look like little crates. Very cool there. There's this little insert in here that represents the ship or shipwreck, and it can hold the deck of cards here. Again, not necessary, but the extra mile for that kind of cool thematic element there. The board comes with this tri-fold board that folds out like so. There's a wooden disc here and some custom little meeples here, one of a fish and the blue one here of a little water droplet. So what is this game? As far as the other components, there is also a deck of cards here representing the storm, and some cards representing raft cards. And then we have this really cool burlap sack, and inside we have 6 different wooden balls in here, and they have different things on here, a certain number of fish. So we have 1, 2, or 3 on the black one in here. And these are actually dual purpose. We'll get into those and how that plays in just a second. As far as the rule book of this game, actually really, really well done. They cover everything really well. There wasn't really too many things we had questions with. I think I was a little too quick to get into the game the very first time we played, and I actually didn't catch that each player starts with some wreckage cards, and that made a huge impact in the game and the feel of it, because it just didn't feel right. But playing the game as the instructions laid out here went very smoothly. Everyone had a really good time, and I've had really good success with this game, bringing it to play with coworkers, friends, and everyone's really, really enjoyed it. And I think the rule book does a great job at covering all the necessary aspects, as well as it includes a nice summary on the back, which I appreciate as well. So let's get right into it. You are washed ashore from a shipwreck on this island. There's this big hurricane brewing, and you all need to build a raft large enough to take everyone off the island before the hurricane strikes. In setup, you're going to take the hurricane card, which looks like this, and with, I think it was 5 or 6 other cards, shuffle that and then put it on the bottom, so you don't know exactly when that is coming. So that gives some tension there on the timing of the storm. But each round, everyone's going to be doing one action. And the game, depending on the number of players, you'll start with a certain number of water and a certain number of food, represented by these custom meeples along the side of the board here. And so there's certain things you can do. At the beginning of each round, you're going to be flipping over a water card. So one thing you can do is simply gather water. And to do that, you will gain water equal to what's shown on the storm card here. So I'd be able to move this up by 2. which is really important because at the end of the round, we're going to need water and a food for everyone. So this was set up for a 6-player game, starts with 12 water and 10 food. So one thing we want to do is collect water, okay? The other thing you can do is collect food. In order to do that, you're going to reach in the bag here and go fishing. You're going to reach in and grab out one of the balls. So you're going to either get 1 fish, 2 fish, or 3 fish if you are lucky. Okay, so that is gathering food. And let me just step back for a second. So gathering water is interesting because if we look at the storm cards, you may be able to get 2 water one round or 3 water each time you collect. Or it may just be 1. Or there are actually cards in here that have 0. And so those can be really, really brutal. And so water is a thing where you need to make sure that you kind of save up and have some extra water on hand. With the food as well, food is an interesting one because it's all pretty chancy as far as what you're going to get from there. If everyone goes fishing and getting 1 food each time, well, that's good for the round, but you're really not progressing your raft or anything, which is the other thing you can do. So on your turn, you can build the raft. To do that, you will move this disc 1 space, and then you can declare a number between 1 and 5 to go get more wood. So this is wood at the edge of the forest. You gather that. Everyone gets that. But will you venture further into the forest to get more wood? And I noticed, I told you at the beginning, there are 5 normal wood color balls in there. And there was 1 black color ball in here. And so if I were to say, I'm going to go 4 and pull out 4 balls, if one of those is black, I am going to not gain any more wood. If I was correct, where I pulled out 4 regular wood balls there, I would be able to go 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, because I pulled out the black one, I would not lose this, but I wouldn't be able to collect any more wood. I don't lose that, but that black ball represents getting bit by this poisonous snake. There's other ways you can get poisoned, either by I can't remember the exact wording, but fish or water that is contaminated. Now, when you are sick, I will explain that in just a minute, but basically, at the end of the round, if there's a vote, you cannot vote that round, and on your next turn, you will not be able to perform any of those actions that we've talked about: gathering water, food, building a raft, all these important things. You would simply spend that round healing yourself, and then future rounds you'll be able to perform actions like normal. The other action you can do is you can actually swim out to the shipwreck and search for useful items in the ship, like a bullet. Okay, like I said, everyone starts the game with a certain number of cards, and that's going to be dependent as well on certain player count. Primarily, if you're playing, I think it's up to 9 players, you're going to start with 4 cards. And if it's more than that, you're going to start with only 3. But this element is really what kind of makes, I think, the game pretty interesting as well. So everyone will start with 4 random cards, and then during your turn, you can choose it as an action just to swim out to the boat and search for something. Now, again, it's not immediately adding food or water or helping build a raft. So it can kind of be viewed as a little selfish unless that everyone in the team agrees that, hey, we need to search for something more useful. So it's very interesting. So there's very useful cards in here, like the fruit basket allows all players to ignore death from thirst and hunger for that round. Very, very handy in some situations, especially when you have a water card that comes up with 0 and you're running really low. But then there's cards that allow you to, cast your vote last each round. You can choose the first player for the round. There's food rations in there, so it's kind of as if you went fishing. But what's interesting is these cards stay in your hand until you play them. So people may not know that you have food in your hand. You can try to work as a team and utilize that to help save people, or you can hold on to it and save yourself. There are also a couple gun cards in the deck, which is fairly useless unless you have a bullet. Then with those combined, this is a permanent card, you play it in front of you, and your bullet, you'd be able to discard that and kill another player. One less mouth to feed, right? And that may be the case, that may be a thing. So this one, can of sardines, is 3 food rations. We have coconuts that give us some water rations. There's all sorts of things. Then there's some very important permanent use items that can really, really help the team or certain players come to a victory. Like the flask here allows that person each turn to recover twice as much water. So if there's a 3 or even a 2 up here, collecting 4 water for 1 action is huge. Or if they had the 3, collecting 6 water with 1 action is really, really beneficial and really helpful. And when it comes to voting, which I'll talk about here in just a second, if someone has this, you're a lot less likely to vote them off the island, because permanent use cards like this, when the player is voted off, it does not get transferred to someone else. So having this can be very, very important for your own safety. There's also, sheet metal can protect you from someone's use of the bullet. There's also useless items. A key to a luxury car would be really awesome, but pretty useless when you're on an island trying to survive. This pendulum allows you to force a player into do a certain action. And so there's all sorts of really, really cool things. Anti-venom can help heal someone who is sick. There's a plank that helps build more rafts. There's axe, which allows you to collect 2 wood safely without having to do anything there. Club counts as 2 votes. So there's some really, really cool cards there. So end of the round, what does the end of the round look like? And how do you complete a raft? So as you go around here, as soon as you reach 6, you will complete a raft. And that means that you have built a raft large enough for 1 person. And then this gets set back to 0. And then each time you do that, you add another one. Then you have a raft that's large enough for 2 people. Well, before the storm comes, you need a raft large enough to take every one of you off the island. And at the end of the round, you'll go down. If I had 6 people, I'm going to go down by 6 in each of these. And so I would need the certain number of raft cards, and I would also need food and water for everyone for the journey. So if that was the end of the round and I had enough raft cards, I still don't have enough food. So we would need to come up with food either through cards or some other way to get off the island, or we would have to play another round because we don't have enough food for the journey. So, but in any case, if we're don't have enough raft cards, we are going to go through and we're going to look at water first. And as long as everyone has water, we're good, and we move on to the next one. Let's say we don't have enough food. Well, I'm too short, so we're going to feed everyone, and then we're going to get to the point where people can, if they want, they can say, oh, I have this card, a food ration for someone, so they can bring it up forthcoming. Or what might happen is a vote, and the first player for that turn, there's also a first player card in here somewhere. I don't know where that ran off to. But the first player will transfer each round, and the first player will call for a vote. People can say, oh, don't vote me off. I have a flask. I'm really important. You don't want me to lose, right? Or, hey, remember when I went fishing and I brought in 3 fish? Everyone else was just bringing in 1. So you can kind of have that dialogue. And then when it comes down to it, though, everyone's going to vote. They're going to point at who they think we should vote off. Majority wins. If there's a tie, the first player designate that tie. Now, if you're doing it for food, at that point, if someone's voted me off for food, so they're going to be like, well, sorry, Len, you don't get food. I'm going to starve, right? Well, if I had a food ration or something in my hand to help me stay alive, I can, at that point, reveal from my hand, oh, actually, guys, I've been stashing this away. It's a sandwich. So I'm actually not going to starve. So I'm good. At that point, if you're too short, we would still need to vote someone else off at that point then. So this doesn't increase this. It just says, oh, we're actually good and I'm good. No, this next voting, no one can vote for me for food because I've already saved myself. So we do another round for who wouldn't get food. And if they don't have anything to save themselves or no one saves them, then they're going to be eliminated and they will get one of these cards in front of them. There is a voodoo doll card or something like that that can bring someone back from the dead. There's also a variant where you can play where the people who have been voted off actually still get to vote each round. So kind of that added element of, well, maybe I don't want to burn bridges and get rid of people, or else they're all going to come back and haunt me basically, and I'm going to get voted off as well. But there's that whole element of, working together. So, playing with my coworkers, we played this the first time, all 7 of us, and we were doing really, really well. And we basically all could have gotten off the island. Someone chose to still use a gun and eliminate someone before we left. But we basically all were able to get off the island. The next time was a lot more cutthroat. We were playing with 6 players at the time. And it really got down to 3 players who were able to get off the island victorious. So there's just this really, really cool dynamic in this game. My go-to kind of group game has been frequently Bang the Dice game because it has that player interaction. It has that kind of who's who kind of element. But I really, really enjoy Hellapagos as it's such a great party game. I love that element of, hey, we're all working together until it's not convenient or until it's, hey, we're really not going to go there. Or there's that person of like, ooh, well, I can win this game by myself and see how they can do that. So there's that other element. And there are variants that help kind of promote the different mentality, either teamwork mentality or kind of solitary winning, which is really cool. So like cooperative castaways, you play a few times, and the idea is each of the people who are able to get away on the raft, they're going to score points equal to the number of people on the raft. So you're going to get more points if you're successfully in a larger group who wins. Then the solitary castaway actually is the opposite. So if you're playing with 8 players and you're the sole survivor, you would actually get 8 points. But if you have people who, if you have more people on there, you're going to score fewer and fewer points for the people on there. So those different game elements, I haven't played a whole lot with those, but the idea is that adds and provides that other play style, if you will, for the game. But really, really nice production quality game here. The cards are great. The board and everything just works really, really well. I think the theme is great in this, and it provides a lot of fun kind of banter back and forth, and that this push your luck element of gathering wood or fishing and everything. And the cheers or the groans when those different things occur are just really cool. People's guessing game of, okay, this person said they have, a water, or they said they had a gun or something, but maybe it's useless old underwear, right? And so there's that element where you cannot show people the cards in your hand. You can tell them what you have, but you may be telling the truth or not. And so there's that kind of guesswork or guessing element. Or it's like, why are you swimming out to the ship? We need food, and you have a fishing pole. Like, you get more fish than any of us, and you're swimming out to the ship. And so there's a lot of fun elements to Hellapagos. I think it plays really, really well. And that's just it. I think it says 20-minute play time. I think 20 minutes to an hour is more realistic with how things kind of play out. But I really, really enjoy it. And I love that it goes from 3 to 12 players. Not a lot of kind of games can do that or have that flexibility. Like even Bang the Dice game only goes up to 8 players. I mean, having the ability to play up to 12, I think is something really, really cool. And in this game, I think it would work pretty well. I think 12, you're getting more downtime in between turns, and it's maybe not quite as interesting the whole time, but it's really, really fun, and you're probably going to get a lot more people kind of eliminated earlier on. But this game is really, really well done. Really enjoy this one. Hellapagos, produced by Gigamike. And that is how Lou sees it.